So I know it has been a minute since I've posted a Lego video, but that doesn't mean I haven't been doing anything. So today I am bringing you guys a Lego Star Wars Rebel base instead of a clone base this time. Now, this might seem pretty familiar to some of you if you saw my clone base MOC video, because the base, as in the base plates and the layout that they have and the little mountain area here, is all from a previous MOC I had. But over the past couple months, I've just been doing a few things with it to change it up, and this is basically the final product that I've ended off with. So to keep the banter short, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it, and I'll explain what we're looking at here throughout the video. So without further ado, this is my Lego Star Wars Rebel base MOC. So as a starter, let's look into the lore of this MOC. So this MOC is not necessarily a Rebel base, as in it's been built up and things like that, but it's basically just an abandoned town that the Empire had basically ravaged previously, that the Rebels have taken over and used as their base of operations very temporarily. So the building style for this is going to be buildings and things that look nice for the most part, but also some of them might have a little bit of damage to them and might be scuffed up a little bit because of, you know, blaster fire and bombs and stuff like that that have gone off and basically destroyed this town. But the Rebels have used it because it's a little bit more under the radar than building up an entirely new base. But that's about it. Let's go ahead and look at some of the things we have here. So over here on this side, this was already shown in my clone base MOC, so this doesn't need too much detail, but it's basically just a little pathway mountain I've made, and obviously it doesn't go anywhere because there's a shelf here, but yeah, just sort of a nice little addition if I want to have some more, you know, rugged terrain for battle scenes and things like that. It sort of leads into this town and makes it seem like it might be in between a valley, or also just a little bit more secluded than normal. So over here you can see we have some Rebels taking in this stormtrooper that they've beat up a lot, and they're bringing him into question. And over here they're gonna have to get through this guy first. This is a Rebel just sort of watching guard to see if anyone's gonna come along. And over here we have the main sort of town area. Now there's a few buildings here. First off, I'm gonna start over here. You can see this guy and a Jedi actually helping move some barrels and things of weapons and stuff over here to prepare for a battle that might be coming. And this is supposed to represent a building that has been completely destroyed by the Empire. I actually spent a lot of time working on the detail of this building because I want it to look like there was once a building standing, but now it's so destroyed and so scuffed up that it's pretty much unrecognizable. But this can still be used as some nice cover in a battle. Now over here, you're gonna see a MOC that I actually built for the Empire, but I'm using here for the Rebels as if this guy has stolen it. And it's an Imperial tank that I think looks really cool and also matches well alongside the Imperial Marauder. I feel like they look really good together, so I decided to make this tank. But this guy's sort of taking it out of their hands and he's using it for good. So you can see him driving it through the town here, saying hi to one of the Rebels. We got a pilot over here who might be late for his scouting mission. And just a couple Rebels around here, hanging out, walking around. And over here, we got a big building. Now, none of these buildings actually have an interior because I actually just intended these for a couple photos I was going to make, but I didn't realize I would actually keep them around. I just sort of built them in like an hour or two, just as something temporary, but I actually really like how they look, so I decided to keep them here. So you can see that the build is supposed to look a little bit more rugged, like there's a little bit more destruction, a little bit more, you know, discoloration than normal, but for the most part, still intact, just a little bit abandoned, a little bit battle damaged. And on the roof here, we actually have a guy with a turret watching guard to see if anyone's gonna come in from that side. And yeah, it's safe to say that this base is pretty locked down. Over here, we have another building. This one is a little bit more rugged looking than the other one, more destroyed and more sort of temporarily rebuilt. And once again, no interior on that one, just for the looks, but I do really like it. Now this bridge was also on the clone base MOC, but I really like the simplicity, so I decided to keep it. You can see an injured Rebel being carried over here to the main base area. Now this is the base that they sort of built up a little bit more, and it is a little bit more secure than normal. In front of that, we actually have a little landing pad for our A-Wing here. And this area, I don't really have anything to put there, but I do have an A-Wing that the Rebels can use, so I decided to use it as a landing pad for that. We got our Rebel here, he's just landed, waving at this guy right here to come and help him get out. And over here we have a comms tower. I like to include this same comms tower in almost every single base MOC that I make, because I feel like it is very important that a base has a comms tower, because if it doesn't, then there's no way to communicate to other allies and things in case the base is in trouble. So we got this girl right here communicating to some of the other Rebels that they might need a little bit more backup for this next mission. But yeah, just a really simple build, but also a very effective one. Now, if we move back to the actual base here, I spent a couple hours on this just because I wanted to get every little detail down. And it's a very simple build, but in the end, I decided not to go with the roof because unlike these buildings right here, I actually want to be able to access the interior. And if I would have built a roof, then I would have had to build a back wall here to sort of support all the base plates. And unfortunately, that would have taken up a lot of interior space that I don't really have, especially back here in this skinny little section. So I didn't go with the roof here, but I also do like how you can see the sort of blueprint of it without having to take anything off. So if we take a look at the actual building, you can see a lot of doors on the outside here, a lot of entry points in. So if we look over here, we have a couple safes storing some documents and weapons that the rebels really don't want the Empire getting to. And over here we have a table with a hologram, and some of our rebel troopers are discussing some battle plans. Same with this guy over here doing some research on this holo table. Got our astromech droid greeting the rebel pilot coming in. And over on this side, I actually really like what I did here. So this is the basically commander of this operation, and you can see him looking out this window here. I actually built it to go out over this sort of cliff-like thing, basically representing a cliff right here, which is just a drop from this dresser right here. And I did it over here too, and I really like how it looked, so I decided to do it with this and give this big window that he can look out and sort of just like be all philosophical and thinking about the casualties of war and whatever else you might be thinking about when you're in your feelings. So yeah, that's basically the gist of this part right here. You can see his little desk and a place for a couple more rebel troopers to work at. So this whole base is just very temporarily set up, very minuscule, but at the same time, very effective. If we go ahead and zoom out and look at the entire rebel base, it actually does look like there's a lot going on here. Even though it is very simple, it is very effective. And I think if I want to take a lot of cool pictures or have a lot of cool battles here, I'm going to be able to do that. So thankfully, this dresser is big enough to fit all of this on, because before I would not have been able to do that. And I'm actually building this in my new setup now, my new Lego setup, which is in my room. So if you guys want to see a video on that, tell me down below in the comments. And what we got here has a lot of potential. And I feel like if I want to make another mock of a base again in the future, maybe a droid base or maybe an Imperial base, that would be fun. I can just rip these buildings out here and leave this layout, because I feel like it's such a perfect layout. You have your rugged terrain over here, open space. You got a sort of break in between to add some differentiation between the two parts. And then over here, you can have a landing pad or whatever else you may want, and then a big base. So I feel like it's a good way to sort of lay out a base, and I'm going to use this as a template for some other mocks I make in the future. But other than that, yeah, this is a very, very quick video, very simple mock yet again, just like my clone base. It's a very simple mock that I just sort of want to use temporarily, which I think matches with the lore behind it being a very temporarily set up rugged base. But that is how I like to build most of my mocks, just because I feel like it adds a little bit more backstory when you just look at it. So yeah, that's about the gist of that. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more Lego videos, tell me in the comments below. If you want to see my whole room setup and thing with all my Legos, then go ahead and tell me that in the comments below too. Thank you guys so much for watching this very short tour of my Lego Rebel base mock. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.